What's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to be showing you the top 5 mistakes that I see people using DTF transfers making every day. My name is Alex. If you guys are new here, I am the owner of AMS Transfers. We're a custom DTF and screen print transfer supplier located in Houston, Texas. We have been in business here printing DTF transfers since the beginning, about 2020. So if you guys are interested in getting the detailed scoop, make sure you stick around. Okay, so number one, I can't stress this enough how many times we see this come through, but make sure that you are using high resolution artwork. So I can't even tell you how many times we have seen screenshots, maybe even pictures of t-shirts, files pulled from Google or stealed and ripped from Etsy. We've literally, I think we've probably seen it all. So let me tell you the recommended way on how to actually get high-res, good-looking artwork so that you can make sure your DTF transfers look good. Because it is completely possible. Even if you are using something like Canva, you can get some very good-looking artwork with just a couple of different tweaks and minor changes to your settings when you're exporting your file. But what actually is pixelated artwork? For those of you guys who don't really know what you're looking at when it comes to art, you're just looking to get some t-shirts. So if you've ever gotten your transfers back in the mail, you might have noticed some like fringing around the edges, just it looks pixelated, like there's little blocks and it just overall doesn't look good, might look blurry, jagged lines, stuff like that. That's going to be the telltale sign that your artwork might have been blurry, low quality, or just not high res enough. So the way to rectify that is going to be using vectorized images, but that's not entirely possible for every type of image, especially like depending if you're using a gradient in the design or you're using specific things in the design that just doesn't really work for vectorization. I mean, vectorization is kind of picky. If you do have like big blocks of text, it's going to work perfectly. If you have things that are kind of chunky and they're just overall are big elements in the design, there's nothing really like fine, or especially there can't be anything that's semi-transparent in vector artwork. So everything has to be fully like flattened, solid artwork color. So it definitely doesn't work with everything. So what should you do for files and artwork that you can't use vector on? Well, what we would recommend is just getting a high resolution PNG. So you can export your files in Canva at 3.125x on the actual download quality scaler. So you want to make sure that you crank that bad boy all the way to the right, because that's going to allow you to download the artwork files at 300 DPI. Now 300 DPI, that stands for dots per inch, which is going to effectively mean like the resolution of the print. So if you guys are familiar with like TVs and stuff, you know, like 720p, that's like HD, that looks okay. And then there's 1080p, that looks great, like probably can get by for everything. I would say 1080p is going to be that 300 DPI. Anything lower than 300 DPI is probably going to be around that 720, 480p. Honestly, like a pretty decent way to think about it, and I just thought of this off of the cuff right here. If you do have a design from Canva that you downloaded and didn't crank that quality slider all the way to the right, all the way to 3.125x, that is going to mean that you are only downloading your designs at 72 DPI. So effectively over 3 times lower than the recommended, which I think a great way to think about that is 72 DPI, 720p resolution, like when you go on like TV or YouTube, whatever I'm saying. So 72 DPI, 720p resolution. Honestly, that is kind of a stretch. I would really say that the fair comparison would be like 480p, because 72 DPI images do not look good. You do not want to send us a 72 DPI image for us to print, because it just won't look as good as it could. So if you guys do need some help with vectorizing your artwork, you can always use tools that are out there. There are some free tools, but they're not that good. There's paid tools like Vectormagic. Vectormagic is amazing. It works very well. You can either pay monthly, it's $9.99 a month, or they do have a desktop version, which is I think a one-time fee of $300. Don't quote me on that. I'll put something up on the screen. But Vectormagic works really well. There's also people on Fiverr who you can literally just send your artwork to and they will vectorize it for you. Those are going to be hit or miss, so if you have a bad experience with one, don't write off Fiverr as all being bad. Give another one a try, maybe even a couple other ones, because you will find a good one. Like, trust me, I know from experience. I used to work with this guy in Pakistan who was doing our vectorization, and the guy was amazing. But before that, I had to go through literally like 3 different people to who just literally like took my money and then sent back garbage artwork. And yeah, so make sure you guys just keep on trying if you are using Fiverr to get a good one. The guy I use, if you guys are interested, I can probably link him down below. He is super solid. I would love to send him some business, but I honestly haven't used him since I have bought the desktop version of Vector Magic, because I just do it all myself using Vector Magic. It's very intuitive. The desktop version is honestly a little better than the monthly one because you can have background removal, which is insanely useful on vectorized artwork. If you have the monthly version, the online one, you can only get the one with a background on it. So then you have to then take it into something like Photoshop and rasterize that image to then get it without a background, to remove the background. So definitely something that you want to avoid. So the desktop version of Vector Magic does pay for itself in that sense. But if you aren't looking to do it yourself, make sure you check out Fiverr. There's always some good people on there. I can link my guy down in the description if you guys want to check that out as well. But while you guys are down there, feel free to check out the link for AMSTransfers.com. If you guys do need some DTF transfers, we print these same day if you place your order before 3 p.m. I honestly didn't even realize this, but the second mistake that I see our customers making, and it leads very well into what I was just talking about, is leaving backgrounds on their design when they submit their order. So when you are submitting your order to a DTF transfer supplier, there's going to be a very high chance that they will print your order as is. They do not anticipate that they need to make any modifications to the artwork that you submit. So that is just a generalization. Odds are that that is the case. You might have a specific printer who does you good and they check every single order before they actually send it to the DTF printer. But here at AMSTransfers.com, we do trust you to submit the print-ready artwork. So when you do go on there and upload your design, we have a remove the background tool built into our gang sheet builder. So you can literally in one click remove the background from your design. You do have to kind of double check it, because sometimes if you have anything inside of like an O or a P or like a B, that can still have the inside in there. And if that ever happens, a good way to check for that is to change the background of the sheet. So you can change it to really any color, but like a gray or a red allows you to see if there is transparency throughout the entire design, or if there is anything still stuck in the P, the B, whatever. So make sure, a little pro tip to check that out. But yeah, there really is no excuse for not having your design without a background with the tools that are out there nowadays. Like, there is lots of free background removal tools that are on the internet, and all they are a quick Google search away. I will put up on screen the recommended tools that I would use if I were in your shoes. Photoshop is the tool that we use here at our shop whenever we have to remove a background. The color select or the magic wand always does us right. So if you are looking for a more advanced color or background removal option, odds are you probably already knew about that and you didn't need me to tell you. But Photoshop is great. There is photop.com. There's a free Photoshop alternative. And there even is the background removal feature in Canva. So you can remove your backgrounds if you are a Canva Pro subscriber. And yeah, there is so many free tools out there that you can have your backgrounds removed. You can literally do it on our gang sheet builder on AMSTransfers.com. You can do it on Gangzy if you guys want to use Gangzy to build your own gang sheet. You can do that doing buildmygangsheet.com. And on there, literally, again, in one click, remove the background from your design. So make sure that you have the backgrounds removed from all of the designs that you upload on your order, because if not, they will be printed. So we do try to notice if any customers submit orders with backgrounds on them, and we do normally reach out via a text or an email, whatever it is, and be like, hey, is this something that you intended? Did you want this background printed, or did you want us to remove it? So if that ever does happen, we could try and reach out, but there is always going to be that one instance where we let it slide and the customer is going to be upset. So we just try and do everything that we can to preach the education about having backgrounds removed before you actually submit the orders. All right, guys, I'm pretty happy with the tips so far, but we are moving and grooving on to tip number 3. For tip number 3, again, this is such a simple thing, but it happens more than you would think. And that's just making sure that you are following the manufacturer's recommended pressing instructions. So if you do order from us here at amstransfers.com, we include these QR code stickers that say scan QR code for transfer instructions, or you can go to heattransferinstructions.com. So our customers can scan that QR code and it'll bring them to the pressing instructions for the actual transfers that they ordered, whether that be the screen print transfers, which do have a slightly different pressing application, or that is the foil screen print transfers, the DTF, whatever it is. So that'll take the customer right to that specific page. And then from there, they just have to look at the settings, the temperature, the pressure, everything that they should be setting their heat press to, dial it in. If you do order screen print transfers, we like to include at least 3 extras of whatever it is that you did. So if you did like 50 sheets of a specific design, we'll usually give you like 53, get your heat press dialed in and allow you to kind of make sure that everything is picture perfect before you actually have to start running production. But making sure that you're following the actual recommended pressing instructions from the DTF transfer supplier that you're getting them from is going to be really important. If you're not getting any instructions in your DTF transfer orders from your supplier, one, ask them, like, what instructions do I do? There was nothing in here. Second, or before you do that, maybe you should look on the box, because I have seen some manufacturers just like putting their QR codes on the box. That's a little more challenging because I think the customers discard those after they open them, but check the box, check inside the box. They might have thrown a little insert or something inside, but if not, make sure you reach out to them and be like, hey, where the heck is my instructions? I don't know how to press these on. Because depending on the actual materials that your supplier is using, whether that be cold, instant, hot peel film, whatever it is, we here use the instant peel film. So as soon as the heat press lifts up, you can literally peel it off of the t-shirt. So that is going to be something that you need to know if you order DTF transfers from us. And that is going to be especially important if you're ordering from a supplier who's still using cold peel film. Because if you used to be ordering from us and then for whatever reason you decide to switch, but then you start using a different supplier and this guy is still using cold peel film, you're used to the instant peel from us, so you try and peel the transfer instantly, and that is going to be for a load of trouble, believe me. So making sure that you're following the right pressing instructions, having your heat press dialed into the right settings, the right temperature, the right pressure, the right time too, that is also really important. I think the pressure, time, and the temperature that you set your heat press, and making sure that you can get all of those factors dialed in to your specific DTF transfer supplier, and the t-shirts that you're doing them on too is going to be really important. Okay, my 4th and also a critical tip that I see a lot of people making as a beginner DTF transfer supplier, DTF transfer printer user, whatever it is that they are improperly storing the transfers that they are getting. So these things are going to be sensitive to the environment that you keep them in. So if you're keeping them in a really humid environment, you might run into issues. If you're keeping them in a really cold environment and there is not proper, like the room temperature is below maybe 65 degrees Fahrenheit, again, you're going to be running into issues. So you want to make sure that you're keeping the transfers in a proper condition. And if you do order DTF transfers from us, we send them in a completely sealed bag with these Desiccant packets included inside the bag. So with this, we are effectively creating its own environment for the DTF transfers. And with the Desiccant bags, that's going to keep the humidity of the actual inside of this bag within the proper range for these DTF transfers. So I would recommend, if you are ordering from us, for example, to keep them in this bag until you're ready to use them, and make sure that you're keeping them in a like an air-conditioned room in your house. Don't be leaving them in the garage. Don't leave them in the basement where it's like cold and muggy, whatever it is. Just keep them in like a nice room, your bed, I don't know, like your bedroom maybe, because like it's probably the proper conditions. But just basically I'm saying don't leave them in your garage. Don't leave them in a uncontrolled environment. But then the same can honestly be true, because if you are, and maybe it's like springtime like it is here in Houston, you have your windows open. Here in Houston, it's humid as it can be. So if you have your windows open and your house is relatively humid, that can also affect the transfers. So you really just have to make sure that you're watching the humidity and the air temperature in the environment that you're keeping the DTF transfers in. Just keep them in that bag until you're ready to use them. That's going to be your best bet. And then after if you do order several gang sheets, for example, something like that, and you need to cut them open, get into the bag, but you aren't going to use all of them, trying to keep them in some sort of sealed container with those desiccants would be great. But if you can't do that, I think just keeping them in a climate controlled room will get you pretty far. Honestly, like I think if you do that and you can keep it within like, I would say 60 to 70% humidity, around like 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll be pretty good to keep these DTF transfers for, I would say, minimum 6 months. If you do order from us, that is, I'm not making any guarantees on any other suppliers, but they should last you at least 6 months on the shelf. Shouldn't run into any issues. We have DTF transfers back there on those white shelves that we've had them for like a year and a half. So, and maybe I should actually pull some of those down and test them, because they're just sitting back there. So that would be a pretty good test to see how long they actually do last. But yeah, you can definitely get at least 6 months if they're properly stored. And if you keep them in that bag, they'll last a really long time. If you guys are looking to get into DTF transfers, but you don't have the space, you don't want to buy some of these big DTF printers that you're seeing behind me, there is another solution. You can opt for a transfers on demand provider like AMS Transfers Plus. With AMS Transfers Plus, you do not have to do any of the printing. As soon as your customer places an order, the order gets routed to us for printing, and then we get it printed, shipped, and packaged, shipped to your customer with your brand name under the return address. If you guys are interested, this sounds like something that you would be looking to offer in your business. We offer the DTF transfers so your customers can actually order DTF transfers. We offer UV DTF transfers so you can offer that to your customers, as well as custom print-on-demand apparel. No minimums. Your customers can order literally just one t-shirt, and you don't have to do any of the work. If you guys are interested, feel free to book a demo with me, amstransfers.com/demo, and I will walk you through exactly how much profit you can make working with AMS Transfers Plus on your t-shirt business. Again, that's going to be amstransfers.com/demo. Okay, and last but not least, tip number 5, the number 5 biggest mistake that I see people make here in my business, that's going to be not charging enough for your finished product. So whether you are, for example, just buying our transfers and then reselling them to your customers, you're selling cute, trendy designs, whatever it is, as the DTF transfers, as the screen prints, whatever it is, you're doing that. Okay, that's great. The number one thing that we see with that specific case is they are not charging enough. So make sure that you are not participating in the race to the bottom, competitive, bottom of the barrel pricing game. You want to be someone who can set yourself apart using some sort of value add, some sort of competitive advantage. Maybe you are the only person in your specific town who can get the transfers the same day. Maybe you're the only person in your specific town who can print up to 22 inches, whatever it is. Just find some sort of competitive advantage and try and really lean into it so that you can actually be the person who is not just competing on price. You want to have something that allows you to charge more for the transfers, because you're not going to be able to keep on scaling your business and actually getting to where you want to be, accomplishing the goals that you want to, selling your DTF transfers for $3, $3.50, whatever it is. You need to have something that sets yourself apart so that you can charge $5 a DTF transfer. And the same thing goes for t-shirts. If you are buying the DTF transfers and then pressing them onto t-shirts, get that price up there, guys. Do not be selling them for $10, $8, $9, whatever it is. I mean, maybe if you're doing numbers, if you're doing like 250 shirts, maybe even over like 100, 150, you could start getting down to those prices for like maybe heavy cotton, one placement. That sounds like a fair price. But other than that, just make sure that you're keeping your prices at a reasonable price. And if you are only doing one-offs, your prices should be fair. They should be at retail. In all honesty, like you're selling this person a custom t-shirt, that price should be at least like $20 to $25. In my opinion, it really should be like $25 to $30 because there are shirts that you can go buy at Walmart which are like $15, $20, and those are mass-produced t-shirts and they cost the same as a custom t-shirt. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Like, tell me something in the world where you can get customized that doesn't cost more. So that's going to be, I think, the final tip, and probably, honestly, the number one mistake that I see people actually making. But I think the number one mistake, because it affects them so much, because at the end of the day, you can easily fix artwork resolution. The number one thing that I said at the beginning of this video, you can easily get that fixed. You can easily remove your background. You can easily do most of the things that I've mentioned here in this video. But if you get your customers hooked on these low prices, when you go back to them and they try and come back and order more t-shirts the next quarter, the next year, and your prices have doubled, tripled, whatever it is to actually start hitting these numbers, making money in your t-shirt business, getting to the point where you want to be, they're not going to want to do that. They're going to be like, oh, forget that. You were doing them for $9 before. Why is your price doubled? And they're gonna go to the next guy and ask for the same price. This guy was giving me shirts for $7, can you beat it? And then it's gonna be up to that guy, whether he says yes, he takes their business, and then it is their problem or not. So that's going to be where I leave you guys. I really hope that this video has been helpful. These are the 5 biggest mistakes that I see customers and DTF print suppliers making when they're getting into DTF transfers. But all right guys, I really hope this video has been helpful. If there is anything you guys want to see me cover in more depth in another video, please let me know down in the comments. But for now, leave the video a like if you guys made it this far. Get subscribed for more daily videos behind the scenes of what we have going on here at AMSTransfers.com. But I'll see you guys in the next video.